General Zaxthul's mandibles clicked in amusement as he watched the latest batch of recruits file into the training facility. His 8 eyes swept across the assembled beings, towering Corvan warriors with their crystalline exoskeletons, sleek Velani scouts with their translucent skin, and hulking Brahmin heavy troopers with their rocky hide. Then his gaze fell upon the smallest figure in the room, the human. "What is this supposed to be?" Zaxthul's voice boomed across the chamber, his chitinous form rising to its full 12-foot height. The other recruits instinctively stepped back, but the human, barely 6 feet tall and weighing perhaps 1/8 of the general's mass, remained motionless. "Sir, Recruit Marcus Chen reporting for duty," the human said, his voice steady despite the obvious size disadvantage. Zaxthul's laughter was like grinding metal. In his 3 centuries of military service across 17 star systems, he had never encountered such an absurd sight. This soft pink creature with its pathetic single pair of eyes and laughably fragile bone structure was supposed to serve in the Galactic Defense Corps? "Tell me, little human," Zaxthul spat the word like a curse. "What makes you think your species belongs among warriors? Your homeworld only achieved faster-than-light travel yesterday in galactic terms. You have no natural armor, no enhanced strength, no telepathic abilities. You can't even see properly with those pitiful optical organs." The other recruits shifted uncomfortably. Even they, despite their own impressive capabilities, found the general intimidating. But Chen remained perfectly still, his dark eyes fixed on the towering alien commander. "I'm here to learn, sir," Chen replied simply. "Learn?" Zaxthul's mandibles spread wide in what passed for a grin among his species. "Very well. Let's see what these humans are capable of." Computer initiate training scenario 7. The facility's holographic systems activated, transforming the sterile chamber into a war-torn cityscape. The air filled with the sounds of distant explosions and energy weapon discharge. Multiple enemy targets materialized, sophisticated combat drones designed to challenge even veteran soldiers. "Recruits, you have 15 minutes to neutralize all hostiles and secure the objective," Zaxthul announced. "Begin." The alien recruits immediately deployed their natural advantages. The Corvan's crystalline armor deflected enemy fire as they charged forward. The Velani scouts became nearly invisible, their translucent forms blending with the environment. The Brahmin troopers absorbed hits that would have destroyed lesser beings, advancing steadily through the chaos. And then there was Chen. The human dropped into cover behind rubble, his movements fluid and calculated. While his fellow recruits relied on their biological advantages, Chen began to do something unprecedented. He started to think. Zaxthul watched with growing interest as the human's behavior diverged completely from standard military doctrine. Instead of engaging the enemy directly, Chen began to observe. His eyes tracked movement patterns, identified weaknesses in drone formations, and calculated angles of attack that seemed impossibly complex. "Interesting," Zaxthul muttered to his aide, Lieutenant Veltar. "The creature appears to be analyzing." What happened next defied every expectation the general had formed about combat effectiveness. Chen moved through the battlefield like water through stone, not with overwhelming force but by finding every crack, every weakness, every opportunity. He used debris as improvised weapons, turned the enemy's own firepower against them through clever positioning, and somehow managed to predict drone movements with uncanny accuracy. But it was his use of the other recruits that truly astounded Zaxthul. Without any formal command authority, Chen began coordinating the assault. A quick gesture directed a Corvan warrior to a flanking position, just as Chen created a distraction. A whispered suggestion sent a Velani scout to disable a key enemy sensor array at precisely the right moment. He somehow calculated the exact trajectory needed for a Brahmin trooper's thrown boulder to take out 3 drones simultaneously. Where the other recruits saw chaos, Chen saw patterns. Where they relied on individual strength, he created synergy. Where they fought against the scenario, he made it work for him. In just 8 minutes, nearly half the allotted time, the last enemy drone fell. The simulation ended, returning the chamber to its original sterile appearance. The alien recruits stood breathing heavily, their various respiratory systems working hard to recover from the intense engagement. Chen simply straightened his uniform and faced the general. Zaxthul stared down at the human in absolute silence. In 3 centuries of military service, he had never witnessed such tactical brilliance from a raw recruit. The creature had taken a chaotic battlefield scenario designed to challenge experienced soldiers and turned it into a perfectly orchestrated symphony of destruction. How? Zaxthul's voice was barely above a whisper. Chen's expression remained calm. Pattern recognition, sir. Resource optimization. Adaptability. My species may not have natural armor or enhanced strength, but we excel at finding solutions. We see possibilities where others see limitations. The general's 8 eyes studied the human with newfound respect. Everything he had assumed about combat effectiveness, about the nature of strength itself, crumbled in the face of what he had just witnessed. This soft, seemingly fragile being had just demonstrated capabilities that transcended physical limitations. For the first time in his military career, General Zaxthul found himself in the presence of something he had never encountered before, a species that had weaponized intelligence itself. Slowly, deliberately, the towering alien commander straightened to attention. His chitinous arm moved to his chest in the formal military salute of the Galactic Defense Corps. Outstanding work. Recruit Chen, he said, his voice carrying a respect that moments before would have seemed impossible. It seems the Corps has much to learn from humanity. The other recruits stared in shock as their intimidating commander maintained his salute. They had just witnessed something unprecedented. Not just a human succeeding in an impossible scenario, but earning the respect of one of the galaxy's most decorated military leaders. Chen returned the salute with quiet dignity. Thank you, sir. Ready for the next training exercise. As Zaxthul lowered his arm, he made a mental note to contact headquarters immediately. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, but he would not make that mistake again. These humans, he realized, were going to change everything.